Coming to you from the Black Swan Media Studios, this is Fireside Chats, talking to the real difference makers in the world. Now, here is your host, John Crump.
Have you ever had one of those days where you just want to crawl back into bed, even though it's 5 o'clock on the East Coast here? That is the day I'm having today. First, I had camera problems, so I switched my Logitech camera from my Canon. No big deal, did that. Then I started to broadcast, but somehow when I hit the go live button didn't work for some reason. And my little soundboard, nothing. So everything is broken today. And that's really funny because today I have a technical guest on, a guest that does a lot with 3D printing and all that good stuff, crypto and really cool stuff. He knows about the whole anarcho-capitalist, I almost said anarcho-communist, or not communist, anarcho-capitalist, digital capitalists, whatever movement. And his name is Jason, and he's also known as the Rogue Banshee. What is up, my friend? I hope you're having a better day than I've been having.
It's arguable if I am or I'm not. Since I'm in Mountain Time, it's only 3 o'clock here, so I still have a few more hours before I can really call it quits for the day. So it's a couple more hours that things could go wrong.
Yeah, I have a Cub Scout meeting today in a couple hours, and things always go wrong with there. I just want to say super chats are open. I do have a Patreon. The Patreon is patreon.com/John Crump. You can also buy patches and all that really cool stuff over at blackswantactical.com. 100% of the proceeds goes to helping my niece Bella. So yeah. So this is the thing, man. I woke up yesterday and I was bored. And I decided, what can I do today? When I get bored, I like causing trouble.
Well, I saw the lawsuit.
So yeah, so I filed a lawsuit against the governor, and their response was, well, Fairfax backed down. Fairfax County backed down. Let me explain the lawsuit. The lawsuit is about the governor at the last minute canceling the largest gun show in Virginia, like days before it happened. So there's no way people can recoup the money. All the vendors are already in town. They're setting up and everything. Now it was canceled. So I was like, I can't let that happen. So it's held in Fairfax at the Capitol Expo Center. Fairfax relented today and said, you guys all are willing. You guys can have it if you want. So that's great. Keith Haring stepped in and said, no, they're not going to have it. I'm going to shut it down. So he overruled the place where originally was going to make the decision because he didn't like the decision they made. So that happened. So I was like, yeah, I got to stop this. So my awesome lawyer, Rob Olson, called him up. I was like, Rob, I want to do something. And he's like, are you interested in suing the governor? Like, yeah. It's like he knows. He's like, okay, well, we already got a couple other plaintiffs. You wanna join in? I was like, absolutely. He says that I'm like the office guy. Anytime he asks me if I want to sue someone, I'm like, absolutely. Over gun rights. I've never sued anybody for anything but gun rights. That's about to change in a couple weeks here, but I don't want to talk about that because I'm going to be suing someone for some screwed up crap that they did work. I don't want to say too much about that. If you're out there listening, you're going to get sued. So just know, you know who you are. But yeah, so he's like, when you woke up today, did you think that you're going to sue the governor? I'm like, I wake up every day thinking that I'm going to sue the governor. and this is multiple lawsuits I have done. So Keith Haring said that I have a habit of suing Northam. That's the AG, and Northam said I get sued by him all the time. It's like that's a bad thing. I'm like, well, look at why you're getting sued.
Yeah, it's funny because I was having a chat with a buddy of mine. He lives actually in Portland, and it wasn't really about lawsuits, but we're just talking about how these politicians have these newfound powers that they think that they have, and they just do whatever they want. And somebody's just got to start stepping in and going, no, this is not the power that you have. And it's getting crazy with things. I mean, here in Montana, thank God our governor is heading out. But on his way out, he just put in even more mask orders and closing bars at 10 o'clock because at 10:01, apparently you get coronavirus.
Yeah.
And then, he's got his parting shots he's doing. And it's just like, dude, would you just stop? I mean, even our sheriffs here in Montana sent him a letter and said, everything you're passing is not enforceable, and tell people to stop calling 911 because it's an abuse of the 911 system. And I mean, our sheriffs aren't even doing it, but our health departments are. So in Montana, what they do is they get the health departments to go after the businesses because you can't go after the individuals for not wearing a mask here. So they have to go after the businesses and then find the businesses to make sure that the patrons are wearing masks. So it's just like, guys, this is just total abuse of power.
It is. It's kind of really ridiculous what they try to get away with. And you know what? I mean, I don't care about, I mean, a lot of people get upset for masks. Oh, they should be regulating masks. I don't care. Well, I do care if they regulate masks. I mean, I don't care if you want to wear a mask or you don't want to wear a mask. That's what I'm saying.
If you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. I don't have a problem with that at all. But don't tell me that I have to wear one. I mean, it's funny because we actually had this happen over the weekend. We were selling something on Craigslist, and someone showed up to the house to take a look at it. And in our own house, they tried to tell us to wear a mask in our own house, and we're like, "There's the door, just out." I'm fine if you want to wear a mask. That's totally your prerogative. It doesn't offend me. But you're not going to come into my house and tell me what I'm going to do in my own house.
Yeah, that sounds kind of crazy.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm so sick of the overreach. And it's just everywhere. Everybody's just finding these new little powers, and they're chipping away to try to have control. And it's a lot of what this stuff is, just it's control.
It's like chip, the drip drop control.
Well, I mean, it's just like gun control. It's like they'll go through and they'll just like, well, we'll have reasonable laws. We're going to pass reasonable laws. And then that reasonable law will take one thing away from you. Well, then that reasonable law didn't work. So now we got to have another reasonable law. We're going to take one more thing away from you. Now you can't have a high capacity magazine because everybody knows that the 11th bullet blows the car up.
That's not how it works.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the mentality that these people have. We're just going to take one more thing away from you.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my color adjusted right. Your camera settings are all screwed up. Yeah, I told my wife, I was like, "Hey, guess what? I'm suing the governor," and my wife goes, "Okay." Ask why. She's like, "Yeah, whatever." I don't know if that's good or bad that she knows.
He's saying she's becoming desensitized to it.
I think she became desensitized to it a long time ago.
Yeah, I don't know. That's what they do is it's just one more. Everybody just tries to get just their little piece of the pie, and then once they get their little piece, they want that piece to be bigger and then bigger, and then sooner or later, you're trying to figure out what's going on. You know, sorry, I was just seeing what a comment was. But yeah, it's just I'm sick of the our rights eroding, and that's just the way. That's what I was reading. What's funny is Patagonia was a big campaign person for our governor who was running for Congress here in Montana, and that was so fun when he lost.
Yeah, I actually spoke to the person that beat him.
Gene Forte?
No, he was running against Daines, I thought.
Oh, Daines. Yeah, Steve Daines. Sorry. It's Gene Forte's going in as governor. Gene Forte ran against him for governor last time. But yeah, Steve Daines, it was kind of interesting. It was almost comical when our governor lost. He changed so fast. The second he decided that he was going to run for president, he towed the party line instantly. And then coming into Montana, just being governor, he even stopped answering emails from the citizens. We've sent a couple of emails into the governor's office, and they went into a black hole because, of course, they were about subjects that he was very passionate about, face masks. And he just ignored him. He's been ignoring us out here for a year, and it was kind of karma that he lost.
Yeah, it really is. I talked to Steve Daines. He's a really cool guy, actually. Really down to earth, really nice.
He is. We had a problem back in the earlier part of the year because of all the government shutdowns with the virus and all that stuff. We couldn't get our IRS returns. I mean, we had a tax return. So we're waiting for money. We're waiting for money. Of course, nobody at the IRS is answering the phone. Nobody's answering emails or anything like that. We got sick of it. And my wife's like, what do we do? I go, hey, Steve Daines is running for re-election. I'm sure he'd be interested to hear about this. We sent him an email, and we got an answer back from his office a day later. And man, they just started hammering the IRS for us.
Yeah.
And eventually we got a return.
They're really cool people. I think they really identify with the American people and people from Montana. And he likes guns.
Yeah, he does.
Can't you like anti-NFA,
Well, what's so funny is the ads here, and don't get me wrong, I hate political ads, any party. They get old after a while. But man, he was hitting his opponent really hard on, hey, I have an A rating. He has an F.
Well, GOA ran ads in Montana.
Yeah. A lot of people ran ads in Montana. That was one seat that they did not want, that nobody really wanted flipped, at least on the gun rights side. On the other side, well, they really wanted that seat bad.
Yeah, they do. It's like, well, what's going on? No, on YouTube with my phone. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, Flying Mission must be on the. Okay, never mind. I don't know what the hell they're talking about over there.
I know. I was looking at that. It was like, what's he talking about?
Mystery and gorillas and guns and Flying Rich over there talking about crazy stuff. Yeah, it is definitely interesting, man. There's an interesting time that we live in right now. The battle for gun rights runs through Georgia.
Yeah. Well, and then everyone's watching that Georgia race pretty close right now, because if they flip to those two seats, then it's going to be just like the crime bill before. It's going to be cast that vote, well, then the vice president's going to break the tie, and now we get all of our rights eroded away from us again.
Yeah, Chuck Schumer has already stated that he's open to getting rid of the legislative filibuster, which will allow them to back the court and also to push through any unconstitutional laws that they want. And then they will have the court because they were expanded to 13, which would give them a majority. So our remedy in the courts would not be there. So it's very important. It's going to change America forever if they win the Senate.
Yeah, totally. I mean, as long as the Republicans can keep that majority there, we're safe, kind of, but not fully. Because it's going to be executive order, and then, well, I mean, you already see what's going on with braces and 80% lowers and all that stuff.
Well, there's a stopgap, and I'm hearing stuff about them going after solvent traps.
Yeah, I read that one today too.
Yeah, I read some internal ATF documents. There you guys go. That says basically what they want these companies that sell solvent traps to do is to ensure that the people buying them have a completed Form 1. Rich, we all need to move to Georgia and vote. If you do that, it's a 10-year penalty in jail for moving to Georgia specifically to vote.
But yeah, I mean, well, if you think about it, I mean, I've seen a couple of people on YouTube that are not gun people releasing their security cam video of their house where the ATF comes to them because they bought a fuel filter. Diesel fuel filter.
Yeah, I saw that. The guy like have a YouTube channel. He works on diesel trucks and put him in a gun guy, and they came.
Yeah, they came to his house and he's like, "Well, what's going on?" and all that stuff. Like, well, you bought 10 fuel filters. He's like, "Yeah, I work on trucks." So
he's like, I'm a diesel mechanic. What do you?
Yeah. So they he takes them back to the shop, and then they're like, "Oh, okay, yeah, he actually is." Like, yeah, you guys are fishing here. First of all, where did you get the information about he bought 10 diesel fuel filters? I didn't think that buying diesel fuel filters was illegal.
They're monitoring that. They're monitoring all sorts of stuff. So, I mean, if you're getting, there's an adapter that actually has like a pipe adapter that you can buy it at like a Home Depot or Walmart or anything, and they're monitoring people ordering those through the internet because it can enable you to connect an AR-15 to a fuel filter, to an oil filter.
Oil filter, yeah. It's just, I get it. They have to have an intent. The government has to approve intent with that stuff. It's just monitoring for the stuff. I'm sorry, unless I go on YouTube and take this thing and thread it onto my gun, thread an oil filter onto it, and then shoot it. Sorry, you don't have the right to really watch me at that point. But they're doing it anyway. It's just and that kind of goes back to the whole thing. Everybody wants their little piece of the pie, and ATF is trying to get their bigger one. I mean, they're already preparing for Biden and Harris, so they're trying to get all their stuff done. I mean, look at the articles you've written about the stuff. You can see they're doing it already.
Well, they're talking to the transition team.
Yeah,
which they're not even officially, president-elect yet.
Yeah. What's the meme I saw last night? It was if Kamala Harris is so confident that she's vice president-elect, why is she not giving up her seat in Congress yet?
Yeah.
Just because it might go the other way.
There's automatically, yeah. Okay,
no, they're not. Rich, they're not Chinese Glock auto sears. You want to watch out for the was it the coat hangers or the The
I'll have to bring that up.
not the paper hangers. The picture hangers.
The portable wall hangers, they called them.
The portable wall. That's what it was. Yeah, you got to watch out for the portable wall hanger.
That guy wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, like portable wall hangers. He made it obvious what he was selling.
Yeah,
it wasn't his design for the person, but he made it so obvious what he was selling.
Yeah, I mean that one. That's one of the ones you just sit there and think about. However, as long as he didn't say, if you do this, it modifies it to be it wasn't. It's not an autoseer. It's not a lightning link. It was, I forget what it was called. But basically, pushes down on the disconnector. Technically, did he break a law?
Well,
as long as he doesn't say.
Well, here's the thing. There was a couple things he did say. He did say, "Don't worry about your dog getting shot because PayPal, they won't be able to track you."
Yeah,
they will. I mean, and
plus, that does.
Plus, it wasn't his file. He downloaded a file called drop in the autoseer.
Yeah.
So it's not like he designed it and people are using it. It wasn't his design. He got it, and the file is called drop in autoseer.
Yeah, it's and that's one of the things that kind of worries me. Looping back around the 3D printing, there's so many files out there to download, and if you don't think the government's watching who's downloading those files or trying to figure out who's downloading those files, you're going to have a rude awakening, because they're gonna say downloading the file is intent, and then then your dog gets shot.
Yeah, if you own a portable wall hanger, now is the time to get rid of it.
Very well. Make sure that you have footage of you getting rid of it or destroying it.
Yeah, I would just be like, I never. What are you talking about? It got lost in the mail.
Lost in the mail. Yeah, yeah. No signature required. It must have just. I don't know. It must have been with my voting ballot.
Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely a very interesting time.
Yeah, it is. I don't have enough ammo to shoot full auto. Yeah, Rich, me either, dude. But yeah, it's going to be some interesting time, and that's the thing that they're having problems with. Is, these 3D printers, they just cannot. They can't control them. It's things
awesome.
What's that?
That's awesome to me.
Yeah, it's totally awesome. They can't control it. It's a technology. I mean, what are they going to do? Go back and try to find everybody that's bought a 3D printer? I mean, that's going to be a little rough for them to do. So they just can't do it. They're not going to pull all these 3D printers. And even then, what if you didn't buy a 3D printer? What if you built one? The plans out there are open source. You can buy all the parts. They're going to watch for everybody that buys a 3D print head. I mean, they just can't do it.
Yeah.
Rich, that's pretty much who I'm talking about right there.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way they can do it. And
yeah, no, they can't. And I mean, look, I'm not saying that people are going to go out and buy 3D printers just to print Glock or AR receivers or the Plastikovs or anything like that. It's a possibility that you will, and they just can't stop it at all. I mean, I didn't get a chance to read it, John. I got to find this article Someone's talking about 3D printing with trimmer string now, rather than filament.
I mean, I can see it working if you get like the temperatures right and everything, maybe.
Right. But I mean, that's the other thing is you watch the filament. Okay, now you're gonna have to start watching people buying trimmer string by the thousands of yards.
It's crazy, man. I mean, it really is. Yeah, trimmer string is nylon, right?
I believe it is.
It should be capable of doing it.
Yeah, just as long as like you said, you have to play with your temperatures. I mean, it's probably not going to be the cleanest nylon that you're going to 3D print with.
No, but work in a pinch, man.
Yeah, or you just have to put a bigger nozzle in on your print head. Just make sure you don't get clogged.
Yeah, that I hate getting my print head. One of my 3D printers is down. I got to fix it. I'm not sure what's going on with it.
Yeah, I had about a month ago. I had a print head get just completely clogged up, and it was a nightmare to clean out. It was jammed. It was jammed up pretty bad.
Let me just buy a new print head.
The problem is I just bought this print head, so
you don't keep spare print heads.
Well, I do now.
Okay.
But I just bought. I just bought this print head, and I upgraded to a micro Swiss, and I was not going to abandon this print head. I had to clean it. I had to get this thing running. But yeah, and spare printers they're cheap enough to get spare printers now too. I have an Ender 3. I bought that thing for what, like almost $300, and you can find them on sale for like $150 now.
Now, was it the micro Swiss just a print head, or was it the whole thing?
It's the whole. Well, it's the print. It's the print head, the nozzle, and everything. So it's a it's a full metal. So that way you can go to the higher temperatures.
I gotcha.
So that way your Bowden tube isn't going all the way in, and you can print it at the higher temperatures. Because I was playing with ABS and a bunch of other different plastics. So, especially with ABS, you're running that thing pretty hot.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I have a couple printers. I have the Monoprice one. That's my cheaper one, and then I have a Dreamer.
I like, what's the new one they came out where it's got the belt, where it's the endless Z axis now? Have you seen that?
No.
So they got a printer. So rather than printing, up, it has like a treadmill. So the print head's here, and the treadmill moves the print away. So that way you can have an endless Z axis.
Oh, that is really cool. Yeah, Flying Rich prints and Pet G. I wonder what you are printing in now.
If you're printing, it's funny.
Pet G's.
Nice. I've switched to Pet G for just about everything now. I like printing it. It took me a little while to get Pet G to work. I'm not running at 260. I think I'm running around 240.
Yeah, that's what I'm running at.
But 260 is pretty hot. But yeah, like I have this. This is just a little block that I put into magazines. That way it pushes the follower down, so that when you're doing dry fire, the slide doesn't lock back. But that's Pet G. I really did switch over to Pet G for pretty much everything.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah. I like Flash Forge. I actually like the Flash Forge software.
Do you?
Yeah. I switched and I was like, let me try Flash Forge. What do you use to print? What's your slicing software?
I use Cura.
That's what I was using too.
I use Cura. I like Cura. I think it works for me. So I just didn't change over to anything else. But it's not the lack of trying. It's just that I guess I'm just lazy. I learned it. I used it, and that's about it.
Yeah, the Flash. I mean, for like a beginner, the FlashForge software is really cool.
Yeah, I'll have to start playing around because I mean, like I said, I started printing, and whatever I used, I just did, and I need to start branching out a little bit and trying the other stuff. I mean, you know, some people like Slicer, some people like, you know, whatever they do. I started with Cura and I just kind of stuck with it. The one thing I like about Cura is I use oh crap, what's my eSun. eSun is the filament that I run, and they've been updating their database so that when I do the slicing, I can choose my filament in there, and it automatically kind of has the presets for the printer so you know it'll automatically change my temperatures and stuff like that for me.
Yeah, that's one of the things I like about the FlashForge software.
I'll have to start playing with that because it's just I guess I gotta start branching out. You know, one day, the one thing I don't like about Cura is, well, Cura's, you know, it's not public domain, but you know, it's free. But what happens when they want to stop making software that works for basically their competitor of 3D printers? You know, I mean, it doesn't seem like they're going to, but you never know what'll happen in the future.
Yeah, is it just me or is it most 3D printer companies Chinese?
I couldn't name one that isn't.
Yeah, I wonder why that is.
I don't know.
There is one that isn't, but it's very, very expensive.
Yeah.
What is it called? Damn it.
Flying Rich says Prussia. I thought they were Chinese too.
They were Chinese. Are you sure Flying Rich that they're not Chinese?
I don't know. He just threw Prussia out there.
No, it's not Prussia. They're a company. Trying to think. They do like. They email me all the freaking time. Their printers are really expensive because it prints in this like hybrid metal plastic material.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about now.
Prussia Slav. Well, where's all the American companies? Dang damn it.
But yeah, it's just, well, it's like when I put my Ender together, that cracked me up just trying to get through the instructions because it was so poorly translated to English that I just finally just threw the instructions out and just looked at it and said, huh, yeah, that looks like it goes here. Obviously I did a good job because it works. It's been working for over a year now.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I really want to get my printer back up and running. I just haven't had time to work on it.
Hey, Rich, I needed them a year ago.
Actually, I think it might be still under warranty.
But yeah, you know, 3D printing is it's just so it's intimidating to get into, but once you're into it for, you know, after you're done your first spool, you pretty much have it figured out. You know, I tell people that your first spool, just plan on your first spool, you're just going to be screwing around with it. and playing with things and learning. After that, you've got all the basics down, and you're ready to go. I mean, my first spool, I was doing all kinds of stuff after that. You know, I printed the traditional Ender 3 dog. That was, you know, my first print. And then
the little book, not the book, the boat.
The Banshee.
Yeah.
I did those. I got bored with those really quick. But you know, because I'm sitting there going, okay, now what can I really do that's cool? And then my wife found she found a spool of filament that is multicolored. So like every so many, you know, inches, it changes colors and it's kind of shiny and stuff like that. And then I ended up printing like a vase for her out of it. And I got really bored of the test prints pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in 3D printing for a very long time. So, I mean, I don't even remember. Like, when I started getting into 3D printing, it was very, very niche. I guess it was like about 5-6 years ago, maybe longer. Actually, no, it was about 7 years ago. So, like,
Wow.
basically, you had to buy parts and make your own.
You make your own. Yeah. But you know what? I can totally see you doing that, though. I can totally see you sitting down with a catalog going, I can do this, and I can do this, and I can do this. And you have the whole thing lined out in your head, and then it'll show up. You know, when you build it, it'll just be exactly the way you look at it. If I did that, you know, I'm not sure it'd work. Like, you know, my top bar would be crooked and stuff like that. Even though both legs are the same, somehow that top bar will be crooked.
Yeah, I mean, I just, I mean, when I first got into it, there was like no pre-made printers.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff they didn't even make that you had to go to like freaking Home Depot and get parts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how did you build the frames then? Did they have the unistruts back then?
No. Yeah, you got metal. Find someone with the metal.
Get an extrusion.
Yeah.
Somebody do extrusion for you.
Yeah. And basically what you have to do. There's back then, I'm not sure about now, there was a big community of do-it-yourselfers who helped out a lot. So if you needed something, or if you needed like help, or you got stuck, or something like that, there was a big community, and the whole thing was back when it first started was building a printer and making everything from stuff that the maker clubs had.
Okay. How long did it take you to build your first printer?
A couple months. Because I didn't have all the stuff to make it, so you would have to get people who are willing to do it, and you had to work on their time.
True. Yeah, you can only ask so much for free labor.
Yeah, well, it was that's the way it was back then. You know, it was like, hey, you know, labor for free, you know, to enjoy spreading the knowledge of 3D printing. Now it's not so much, which is good and bad because the availability of parts are enough. But you know, we use like computer fans. They didn't make, you know, the 3D printing fans just for 3D printers. You would have to buy like computer fans and other types of fans, and
the muffin fans for computer cases.
Yeah. I kind of miss it though.
Well, it's kind of. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like being able to buy something and put it together, and you know, and have instructions and all that stuff there. I won't lie and say that I never thought about creating my own 3D printer. I'm very, I've always been thinking about that because I look at my Ender and I go, well, if I were to do this, now that I know what I'm doing, I look at it and go, if I were to build this, I would have done this differently. This works, but I would have done this a little differently. The bed on my Ender is I hate it because I always have to level it because those, the way that bed attaches, it's just not right. You're always in there dinking around with it, and I always have to level it. And I realize I'm going to have to level anything because the heating and cooling is going to change. But this thing, I was actually watching one time. I was watching the wheel to level the bed. I was actually, as the print head was going back and forth, I was watching it just kind of turning. I'm like, yeah, that's not right. I'm gonna have to change out some bed springs there to get that tighter.
Yeah, leveling now is a lot easier than what it was, though.
Yeah,
I will say that. I mean, it was, oh my God, it was a pain. You had to like level everything. It's just not the bed. It was like, okay, turn this a little bit to screw a little bit over here. It was.
Yeah, well, I mean, leveling's not hard. I've got it down pretty fat, I swear the first time I leveled the bed, it probably took me about a half hour to do it. And now it's, for me, it's pretty fast because you kind of get the print head there, and I run a piece of printer paper through. Once it starts scratching a little bit, I move to the next position, do that. I probably run around 3 times on the screws, and I'm good. It's level. Before I was like, I don't know what I was doing. It just took me forever to kind of figure it out because I think the hardest thing about it is that I'm thinking that I level position 1. Well, then I level position 2 and not realizing that, as I'm leveling, that bed's changing. So level 1, the position 1's now out. And then as you go around, I'm like, okay, cool, it's level. And you put your piece of paper into position 1, it flies right through it. And I'm like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
So now you get that touch after a while.
You do. One of the other things, do you have magnetic? I want magnetic mats. I'm going to try that. But I looked over here. I don't have any of those on my printers, but those are cool. You know what he's talking about? The mats you can take off.
Yeah, but, the one thing I don't like about the magnetic mats is you're now talking about heat, and the more heat you have, the less the magnets hold. And back then, I was really kind of interested in ABS and running at pretty hot temperatures, that I was afraid that the magnets would fail and then screw things up. So I'm like, right now, I'm running on glass, and I'm just using the binder clips to keep it on. And it's good enough for me. But
first, go ahead.
I would love to just slap something on and just not worry about it, though.
When I first got into 3D printing, there was no preheated beds. So that was a pain.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, you run through a lot of glue stick trying to hold things down.
I used hairspray.
Okay. You use the Aquanet method?
Yes. Just put all that on, but there was no 3D bed. I mean, like heated beds.
Well, it's funny because I remember when I first started learning, and when I was doing my research, and people were talking about heated bed versus not heated bed, and I'm just like, well, why would you want it and stuff like that? Oh, I would never buy a printer without a heated bed after having one.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
I still use a little glue stick here and there, depending on what I'm doing, but I think it's just because more out of habit than it is out of need.
Yeah. The heated heated beds were a life changer. Another thing, when you would always have to build like a cardboard box around your 3D printer. Because it was so heat sensitive back then. I don't know if it was like the way that he just
Well,
cursed or whatever.
with ABS, it is. ABS is. I have so many failed ABS prints because of heat. So what I actually did is I went to Home Depot and bought a sheet of plywood, and then I bought. God, I guess they're probably 2x2s. Um, they were in the coal section, so they're the ones that are warped and all that stuff. Well, I cut them down to 3 feet tall, and I just kind of built this big hood. And then the front, I have a plexiglass that I put on front. They try to keep it, but I don't have. I don't, since I don't print ABS anymore. I never really run with the plexiglass in the front, and really the case is mostly just for me to store crap. I mean, I'm looking at it, I got so much crap on the top of my 3D printer right now. But I also have an LED light that I mounted on the top, and then I have my camera mounted on the side of it. So really, my box has become mounting for everything else.
Yeah, what one of the other you're making me reminisce, man. You really are. Yeah, well, like the technology has changed so much, and it's just crazy. Like how much it's changed.
Well, that's like the little side chat with Flying Rich. There is, I put a Raspberry Pi on my printer, and I send all my files to it through that rather than transferring on a micro SD. And then I have my that is running Raspberry. It's running Octopi on it, and I can my temperatures. And then Rich was talking about the spaghetti detective. Is you can do that, but I actually put mine on Telegram. So with the Telegram app, it's running the Telegram app on it, and I have a bot on Telegram that on at certain positions or certain times, it'll grab a snapshot of it, send it to me in Telegram, tell me what the print temperatures are, how much is left of the print job, and what my all the temperatures and stuff like that. And if in the meantime, if I want to check it, I can just open up Telegram, do a /status to that bot. It'll snap a picture and send me all the stuff. So that way, I don't have to be right there or go to a web page. And I kind of get a little instant gratification that way. But that spaghetti detective has saved my bacon a few times, where like on layer 2 of a 23-hour print failed, and it just started squirting stuff all over the place. It stopped the print on me, so I didn't waste a lot of filament. But then they started charging for the app.
Yeah. But the good thing with the Dreamer is all the wireless stuff is all built in.
Yeah. Yep.
How difficult is it to add replace the 3D print head with a cutting laser? So you could use a robot for cutting off it.
You can't really cut. You can't get that laser that hot. I mean, I guess you could if you special built a printer. I've seen
there is one that's a that the print heads change on it.
Yeah, but I thought that on that printer, they're not for cutting; they're more for etching. That's more of an etching laser.
That's what I was going to say. But I could see someone building one, but it would be expensive.
It would be. I mean, you think about it, you're going to probably. I mean, you're going to have a laser. It's probably about 3 watts in order to start cutting some smaller metal.
Yeah, to do anything.
I mean, you're going to be
wild. You're going to be going. I think you're going to be going a little bit higher than 3 watts.
Yeah, I was just saying 3 watts is just for a small. I mean, that's probably a thin piece of aluminum that you'd be able to cut with it.
Yeah, I don't think you would even be able to etch like a lower receiver or anything with it.
Definitely not a deep etch.
Not
A light.
What I'm talking about
A
is
light.
like for like a NFA item with 3
Yeah,
watts.
no.
You gotta go deep enough.
Now you're starting to talk about fiber and YAG and all kind. You're talking about some pretty special lasers at that point.
Yeah. So I mean, is it possible? Yes. Is it practical? Probably not. Okay, with the 3D print, if a 3D print fails, is it possible to start going with it again?
Depends on the failure.
Yeah, it depends on the failure, but a lot of times
Start over.
start over. I mean, it's cheap enough to start over. I mean, and it's not that bad. When I first started printing, 3D printing, it would take freaking forever to print the littlest thing. And the thing is, you wired the shit up yourself, so you don't know if it's going to catch on fire. No, I'm dead serious.
So, I get it.
You would have to sit there and just like, okay, I need to be here because I don't want an electrical fire to burn down my house, so I'm going to sit here for hours and then.
It's funny because when I first got my Ender, because they started talking about what firmware you have, because the newer firmware has the overheat detection into it. So if you overheat it and start your printer on fire.
Yeah. When I first got it, they didn't have that overheat protection. It was like your printer catch on fire. That's when you knew it was too hot.
First thing I did was set that print head to like I think I said like 275, and that's what I'm wondering about. Rich, he's running at 260. Mine actually, I think at 265, mine went into thermal. It went into thermal shutdown to protect it from catching on fire.
Yeah, a lot of them is like 265 is that's kind of standard. That's kind of like I think that I don't think it's a true standard, but it's a standard. I've never seen one that doesn't have overheat protection that's any other than 265. I did see one that was set to like 250. I can't remember what that was though.
Well, if you think about it, the way that the print head is, that heater is so small that goes into that print head. It's amazing that little thing can get to 260. I mean, you're talking about something, smaller than the size of a pencil going in there to heat that printhead up.
And we're not talking about like Fahrenheit or anything.
No, yeah, it's Celsius.
Celsius, yeah. I did have a malfunction where this was like years and years ago when the little printhead, the software I was using, which was like the Cura, so I put it on there, loaded it up in the printer, and then I had a little digital display on the front of the printer that would display the temperature. It only displayed temperature up to 300 degrees. And I hit 300 degrees and like the printer started freaking melting. I'm not joking. I mean, it was like the normal paper and everything started melting. And I was like, oh, crap. It was like one of the times where I didn't stay and watch it. It came down and it was like, so those things can get up to like 300 degrees.
It's just
hotter, but yeah.
It's just amazing that, I mean, that heater is so small. It's amazing that thing can get that print head that hot. Yeah. It's kind of mind-boggling because you think about you're talking about some pretty high temperatures.
Yeah, I mean 300 degrees, so it's 600 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, that's up there.
Smoking. I mean, the wires got melted. The wires weren't even touching it; it got melted. But I mean, I had to do a lot of replacement, and that's so when Monoprice came out with theirs, instead of using a homemade one, I threw that shit in the garbage. I did. I was like, yeah, this is cool, but it too dangerous.
The safety factor is overrides the coolness.
Yeah, that's why I went with a pre-made printer. When I say pre-made, one that's designed that you didn't have to design yourself because of the safety reasons. I didn't want to burn down my house, and every time I printed something, I got complacent. Then that overheating happened. Then I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna sit here every time I print something and not leave the room.
Well, it's not very good when you have I mean, some of these print jobs. I think my longest print job was 27 hours. The longest one I've done so far, and you just can't watch it all the time. That's why things like Spaghetti Detective, and for me doing the Telegram app, that's why it's kind of important for me. So that way I don't have to sit there. I mean, I used to sit upstairs with my iPad and just watch Octoprint, and or watching TV. I'd just go in every once in a while. But now I don't have to do that. Now I have other things telling me what's going on and tell me if I have a failure or if I'm over temp or things like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely changed a lot, but it was just safety. I mean, I didn't want to.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Burning down my house, and that was a real concern back in the day.
Trust me, when I bought mine, that was a concern of mine. I was afraid of that. I mean, where my printer is in my office down here, there's a smoke detector. The smoke detector in the room is almost over top of it, just to make sure.
Yeah, but back in the day, it was just there's so much stuff that can go wrong. You can electrocute yourself too. I'm not electric.
Yeah.
I'm not an electrician.
Yeah.
I learned by going to freaking websites and reading how to wire it.
Yeah, I know enough, but I don't know that much. Especially coming out of those power supplies. There's some high voltage coming out of those things.
Well, yeah, it's a converter, so it converts it to DC and stuff.
Yep.
So yeah, so back in the day, so when they started making them commercially available, where you didn't have to like design and build them yourself, I just got rid of mine. I didn't sell it. I know some people are like, "Oh, you should sell it." I'm like, no, because
Nope.
I was going to burn out someone else's house or electrocute them.
Yeah, I'm not going to take that risk on.
Yeah, when I had my son started walking when I was 3D printing something. I wouldn't let him in the room, even if I was in there with the 3D printing. My wife's like, "Are you sure this thing isn't going to blow up? You're kind of nervous about it." I'm like, "Yeah."
Because the people who aren't are the ones that burn down their house.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but I mean, it was good. It was a good experience. I would say.
Yeah,
But I'm glad it's over.
I've seen some 3D printers that people have built, and there's some people who built some huge ass 3D printers.
Yeah, that's one thing I miss. That's one thing I do miss.
I mean, it's amazing the sizes of these printers. I mean, we're talking, my bed is what, 12 inches by 12 inches. I mean, there are people doing like feet.
Yeah,
print beds that are feet long.
Mine was 14 by 14 by 18.
Yeah, mine's I know in millimeters because I got it written down here. Mine's 220 by 220 by 220.
Yeah,
in millimeters. So, I mean, that's still a good sized bed, but I mean, when you see someone that built one that's, my bed size is 3 feet by 3 feet, and I can go 4 feet tall. You're like, that's a big ass 3D print.
Well, honestly, when I built mine, it was 14 by 14 by 18, which is kind of big now, but back then, it wasn't.
No, that was huge.
No, back then it wasn't that way. It wasn't that big.
Yeah.
Because everyone was building these massive things because you're only limited by how much material, how much space you had, and people didn't want to build like a 7 by 7 by whatever.
Yeah, I want to build something big. I don't just want to print benchies the rest of my life.
Yeah, basically that's what it was like. So that's
I want to print a Millennium Falcon this big.
The club I was in, it was like a makers club. It was cool. Then once MakerBot started coming out with their stuff, it kind of killed it. Because MakerBot was like the first one to actually start making like the kits where you can like buy and they had instructions, and that's kind of killed it. It literally killed it because people were like, "I don't need you guys anymore. I'm gonna go buy this kit."
Yeah, yeah.
And seriously, it was like that. It was like, well, because basically the instructions were each other. So that's one of the things I do miss about it is the community isn't as strong as it used to be. But I think that as close as it used to be. But I think that with anything, once it starts getting mainstream acceptance, and there's like places where you can go and you don't have to count on going over to someone's house and packing up all your stuff, or them coming over to your house to help you out.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I think exactly what you said. That as the community gets bigger, it's not as it's not as close. But even if you look at the YouTube channels that are out there, there are some really good YouTube channels on 3D printing.
Yeah.
I mean, these people are just they're doing stuff and they're teaching stuff. It's just like that's probably why my learning curve was so fast. Is where I'm at, it's not like I was doing anything wild or new. It's already been done, and the video quality and production value that people are doing are so great that it's like I can learn this. Yeah, I can learn this in a week.
Yeah, it was back in the day. It was few and far between.
Yeah.
If you wanted to learn it, you actually, dude, you know what? It's been longer than that. I got married in 2011, and I built my first 3D printer in my apartment. So wow.
Going down memory lane there, John.
No, I built my first 3D printer in my apartment. And I had a roommate, and she was like, "What the hell are you doing all night?"
It's just
and like or in the living room would just be like covered in parts, and she was like, "You're weird." Like,
well, it's just it's just crazy the things that you can do. I mean, really, with these machines and even building your machines, you are only limited by your imagination. You want to build something big, you can do it. Just coming up with all the stuff to do it.
yeah, man. I mean, that's a long time, man. Wow. Just remember, she one time came in and she's like, "Are you building a bomb?" I'm like, "No, I'm not building a bomb."
Oh,
I was like, "I'm building something." She's like, "What? 3D printer? What the hell is a 3D printer?" It's like, "You ever seen Star Trek?" Yeah. You know the replicators on Star Trek? Yeah. That's what I'm building. She's like, "No, you're not." Mila went and like left. She like just went up to her bedroom, just like, "Oh no, you're not. I'll show you."
Just wait until I get done this print job in 3 days.
Yeah.
I'll show you.
Yeah, I was not a good roommate. I'm OCD. Like, I dry the sink after I use it to make sure it's like really dry so there won't be any water spots.
Look at it this way. There's worse things that you could do.
Yeah, I don't know how my wife puts up with me. But yeah, I just dry the sink. What's up, guns and barbecue? Yeah, I dry the sink, and she would be like, "What are you doing?" It's like, "I'm drying you. You didn't dry the sink." Like, why would I dry the sink? Like, because it would leave water spots. She's like, "It's a sink."
It's supposed to get wet. Yeah, it's funny because a bunch a bunch of people, a bunch of friends of mine, and we're all sitting there talking one day, and I'm pretty laid back about things. If I move the camera around, you see how laid back I am. I'm not the most organized person, but and my wife, we were talking about. It. My wife's like, "Wait, what did you say? Because nothing really bothers you." I go, "I will tell you what bothers me." She's like, "What?" I go, "Toothpaste." She's like, "What?" I go, "Tubes of toothpaste have to be rolled up from the bottom. It has to be. I have to like slide all the toothpaste, and it has to be at the tip. I can't stand it when people just grab toothpaste and grab it in the middle and squeeze it. Drives me nuts."
Cotton balls. I have a fear of cotton balls.
That's one I haven't heard before.
Got a fear of cotton balls. I don't know. Maybe a video. Maybe it's my autism. I have freaking no idea, man.
Well, at least you don't have a fear of lawyers.
No. I just don't like touching cotton balls.
Is it the texture or
if I touch it, it makes my body feel like I've been shocked.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's mental. It's totally mental. Like my therapist, go see a therapist. He's like, maybe we should get you into some emergent therapy about it. I'm like, nope.
Like, I'm good.
I had a job one time and we had this like field day thing, and like, okay, we got to put a cotton ball and we have to carry a cotton ball on our head and try to balance a cotton ball. I was like, no, like I'm not doing that. Like, why are you getting close? I was like, I'm fine over here.
Give me a ping pong ball. I'll work with that.
Then my sister-in-law put cotton balls in my shoe one time.
That
was mean.
That's rough.
That was mean. I was like, yeah, my wife makes fun of me all the time. Cotton balls. What else bothers me?
So let me ask you this then. So when you open a bottle of aspirin and there's a cotton ball in there.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. I get a screwdriver.
I had you down to either screwdriver, tweezers, or needle-nose pliers.
Tweezers too. I get a screwdriver and just like peel it out while closing my eyes while wearing gloves. But usually I buy the small Advil bottles because they don't have
don't have it. Yeah, they don't have it. Yeah. Well, even the big Costco bottles now don't have them. It's like they just completely
Tylenol brand does. That's why I won't buy Tylenol brand.
You know, I remember years ago on 60 Minutes, Andy Rooney did a whole thing on how much cotton goes into a pill bottle. And I forget what manufacturer it was, but they answered back was, we don't use cotton, we use rayon. So if it's truly cotton, then you just have to find the ones that use rayon.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Cotton's not cool. There's certain words that I don't like. Back in the day, there was a word called hella. People use, that was hella cool. Kind of, makes me uncomfortable even saying it. Now I told everyone out there now, whatever.
Oh yeah, you kind of opened the floodgates on that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna open the floodgates. Yeah, hi. I should realize that.
But yeah, it's funny. I never thought about cotton balls before.
Yeah, it's some weird stuff. If I see a car with one headlight, I have to touch the ceiling of the car.
Huh.
Don't ask me why.
You know, we all have our own quirks about things. For me, I'll tell you that if somebody like I don't know, like touches my shoulder or my arm or something like that, I swear that 3 hours later, I can still feel where that hand was.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like people touching me.
Yeah, I don't like people touching me either.
If I spin around in the circle, like if I spin all the way around in the circle, I have to spin around the circle the other way.
Well, you have to unwind.
Basically, yeah. If I'm in a car and I'm driving by a graveyard and I'm driving, I hold my breath. But if
That's
I'm a
not cool,
passenger,
Guns.
I don't. I don't ask me why.
Gorilla's really grilling you over there in the comments.
Yeah, I'm not even looking at the comments.
Yeah, it's just, it's funny because I used to work with my wife before, and I didn't like people touching me, and she used to come by and like put her in. We worked in a call center, so she'd like put her hand on my neck or something as she walked by, and it just would drive me nuts. And she would just do it just to screw with me.
Do you dry the shower after you get out of it?
No, I do not try the shower, but I also don't try the sink either.
Oh, I have. It's probably related.
But no, I don't dry the shower. The one thing my wife drives my wife nuts is I get out of the shower wet and then dry off.
Oh, yeah,
drives her nuts.
Yeah. Well, here's this. See, I have my ring and my watch. If I don't wear a ring, I can't wear a watch. If I don't wear a watch, I can't wear a ring.
That's weird because I'm wearing a watch and no ring.
It has
my ring doesn't fit that finger anymore. So,
like, I had a bracelet on this side, but I lost it, and I used to wear a ring on this side. I got to get a new bracelet. Do you see?
That's different.
There's no ring because I lost the bracelet. Could be
that's different.
I don't like odd numbers. I left the number. I don't like odd numbers. I left the number 7. If there's 7, then it's good. But if it's any odd number besides 7, I do not like it, and it has to be an even number.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny you talk about that. My wife and I were talking about this the other day because usually in the morning when we're getting ready, Game Show Network is on, and Pyramid's on, and I go, "Why is it 7 out of 7? Why is it not 6 out of 6 or 8 out of 8? Why? How did they come up with 7? You have to answer 7 in so many seconds. Like, how did they come up with that?" And she looks at me and she's like, "Well, it's because she can tell I like even numbers." But she's like, I don't know, because every time something is like someone says it's this number, I'm like, well, why is it that number? Why is it not one before or one after? Why is it not? Why is that not an even number?
Yes. Yeah, I can definitely see that, and I don't like writing sentences that end in a preposition, even though you're not supposed to do that. But it really bugs me.
The sad thing is, I'll end a sentence with a preposition, and I don't realize it until Grammarly tells me.
No, I if I see it, it's just like sticks out and it bugs me, and I can't write. I was like, usually I write then go back and edit it, but that one thing, I can't go back and edit it. I have to stop right there and fix it.
Yeah, I see. I don't notice it, and back when my wife used to proofread all my articles and stuff, she used to hate proofreading my stuff. So she didn't mind it so much after I got Grammarly, even though it's still not Grammarly's not perfect. But she's like, "Oh, your writing is so much better than it used to be."
Yeah, I don't like cube numbers either.
Huh, I've never thought about cube numbers.
Don't like cube numbers.
See, it like 9.
I don't like cube numbers.
That's funny. So let me ask you this then. So with all the math that you're so good at, how does that work out? Like when you're building your 3D printer, you had to have run into some of that.
Yeah, I mean, I can use them. I just don't like them. It just I have to power through it. It just makes me feel weird.
Huh. I just try to avoid math in general.
I'm a weird guy. I have all these little quirks. It's just the way my brain works.
Well, I wouldn't say they're quirks. They're just the way you are. I mean, it's not like, dude, it's not like you're Sheldon from Big Bang Theory.
I've never watched that movie, but that is my nickname for some reason. Or the show, yeah. But that is. That is my nickname.
How have you not watched Big Bang Theory?
I don't know. I've never seen a single episode.
Oh man, I can't believe you haven't seen that.
I can tell you why. The Big Bang Theory will have me up thinking about it forever.
You will probably find the inaccuracies of the not math, just the science, and it'll probably drive you nuts.
Yeah, it probably. But think about this: the Big Bang happens. A microsecond after the Big Bang, we have all the science, right? But that first microsecond, the science doesn't work.
Yeah, because science doesn't exist at that time. Nothing existed.
No, but you can you do calculations about the singularity of the original math. And you can actually do calculations through M theory, which is membrane theory, and think that maybe two universes collided in the membrane universe, which calls the Big Bang, blah blah blah. Which that's all mathematical. You can prove that, not prove it, but you can show that with math. You can show what happens after 1 microsecond with math. It's just that 1 microsecond. There's no theories. So
I can't think about stuff like that because when I do, it will consume me.
One time I was up, I was thinking about superposition of electrons one night, and my wife wakes up and it's the middle of the night. I'm just thinking about superposition of electrons, and my wife's like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "I can't sleep. Why? I got a lot on my mind." She's like, so she sits up, she turns on the light. She was like, "Well, tell me what's on your mind." I said, "Well, I was thinking about the superpositions of." I got that far. I was thinking the superpositions of. I didn't get electrons, and then she turns around, turns off the lights, turns away, and goes, "Good night."
It's funny because that's exactly, I don't know your wife, but for some reason that's exactly what I think would have happened, because it probably would have happened with my wife too.
Yeah, probably.
Because I'll wake up at like 2 o'clock in the morning and my mind is just racing about anything and everything. And she's like, "Well, why don't you try to go back to sleep?" I'm like, "I've been laying here for an hour with my mind racing. It's not getting any better. I need to go do something else to calm my mind, because I'll think about something else." And I just have to do something. It just happens to be 2 o'clock in the morning is usually when I do all my filming, because that actually calms me down.
I write equations and algorithms and stuff like that at that time of the night.
To solve what?
Why do you need to solve something?
Well, what is the equation for? What is the purpose of the equation?
It depends. Sometimes it's before I got kicked out of my FanDuel league, I did it to pick players to pick for my team. Other than FanDuel, weekly things.
Mm-hmm.
So I did it. I built something to play all the players, and then they kicked me out.
You're too good.
I won. I did it like the fourth weekend, and then I won 11 out of 12, and I came in second place in one of them.
So how many casinos have asked you not to come back then?
Well, I don't gamble, which is weird. But yeah, so I don't. Besides FanDuel, so what happened was they were like, "Man, you got really lucky. You're really good at this." I was like, "I just use math, man." Like, what do you mean you use math? Like, I was like, "I don't know anything about these players. I just figured what would be useful and what would be not, and then they kicked me out. They said I couldn't come back the next year.
Took all the fun out of it for them.
No, it's math, man. It's all math. It's if you do like weather, home field advantage, which actually I have advantage. I do a hockey thing. I do FanDuel because I do make some extra money with FanDuel. I put in $25 about 6-7 years ago when FanDuel first came out, and I've been able to successfully withdraw a couple $1,000s a year since then. But like a little random.
So you can buy a new 3D printer with it.
Yeah, basically, it's just every year I just withdraw at the end of the year. And
if you think about it, though,
do it again.
You're just taking statistics to the next level.
I mean, that's all it is, man. That's what I try to explain to them, that it's just statistics. They're doing statistics their way. I do it my way.
Your way is just more accurate.
Yeah. The really thing that pissed me off, one of the dudes, the first dude I told when he asked me, he basically said, if you don't give it to me, I'm going to tell everyone else. And I wouldn't give it to him, so he went and told everyone else, and I'm out.
Oh, man.
All right, we've been on for like an hour and a half. I got a Cub Scout.
We have, yeah. You got to get going.
Yeah. So thank you for coming on. Everyone out at crumpy.com. You can go to patreon.com/John Crump. And I'm going to give Rogue Banshee the last word.
Well, my last word is don't get in a poker game with John because he'll math you out of it.
I used to do that shit all the time, man. I did. I don't like, when I say I don't like gambling, I don't like gambling in the casino, but I did used to play at a friendly neighborhood game.
But yeah,
but I'm banned from that too. Because
I totally don't want to play poker with you now knowing that you got busted in FanDuel for extreme statistics. Well, or should we say it's assault statistics?
They're like, man, you have a good poker face, and I was like, well, I just use math, so I'm pretty sure I know what everyone's cards are, so it's not. I don't get excited or anything, and bam, I'm gone. Never invited back. Told not to come back.
There's some poker games I wish they never would invite me back to. It's just not my thing, but I just wish people would stop trying to invite me to them.
It's boring, but back in college, I used to make money that way. So,
I just loaded trailers at UPS in college.
I hated. I don't really like gambling. I hated poker, but it helped me get through college, right?
There you go. Anything to get you through college, because I remember college scraping by for everything.
Poker and blackjack, and FanDuel wasn't a thing back in college, but poker and blackjack and some other type of stuff.
Yeah, blackjack's about the only thing I can play.
Yeah, I mean, it's boring, but whatever. But yeah, let me let you go. Give out your and then we'll get out of here.
Cool. Well, you can reach me on YouTube or Instagram or just about any social media platform. The Rogue Banshee, and the webpage is www.trb.fyi. But thanks for having me on. It's been good hanging out with you.
Good. Stay there for 1 second. I want to tell you something exciting. So I don't go anywhere.
Cool.